Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we are unpacking a really specific and honestly incredibly lucrative strategic playbook. We're going to map out exactly how you can scale your advanced polymer manufacturing business straight into the supply chain of Lumax Industries. You know, if your goal is to level up your business from just being a standard vendor to becoming a true Tier 1 co-engineering partner, well, this is exactly what you need to know.
Okay, let's dive into this. The Indian automotive lighting market is massive, and Lumax, they absolutely dominate it with a staggering 60% market share. That is huge. And here's the thing, they aren't just assembling standard headlamps anymore, no way. They're designing these highly complex, software-driven LED systems, intricate interior mood lighting, and those advanced adaptive driving beams for major automakers both domestic and global. So supplying to them isn't just snagging another contract. It's a monumental gateway for your business to break into the absolute top tier of automotive manufacturing. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the strategic opportunity. Then, navigating the 3 gateways. Third, meeting the lighting mandate. Fourth, the professional onboarding roadmap. And finally, securing a strategic partnership. All right, moving right along to Section 1, the strategic opportunity, focusing on premiumization and high-precision supply. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it contrasts the old way of doing things with the new winning strategy. The entire auto industry is rapidly premiumizing, and with Lumax expanding their technical partnerships with giants like Stanley Electric in Japan, their need for ultra-high-grade, optically clear, heat-resistant, and structural polymers has literally skyrocketed. Because of this shift, you simply can't rely on the outdated approach of just pushing standard commodities. To win their business across their 11-plus manufacturing plants, you've got to transition your positioning. You need to become a specialized, localized co-engineering material partner. You're not just pushing plastic resins anymore. You're co-developing the future of mobility. Okay, let's shift gears to Section 2, navigating the 3 gateways, or basically exactly who you need to approach. So, a massive mistake a lot of suppliers make is just placing a cold call to some generic procurement desk. Honestly, that'll stall your progress on day 1. Instead, we have this matrix. Think of it as your battle plan to successfully secure that coveted vendor code. You have to split your approach across 3 very specific internal stakeholder tracks. Let's break it down. Track A, that's the spec and gatekeepers. You want to target the R&D and engineering leads over at their hubs in Gurugram and Pune. Your pitch here is all about getting your materials approved during the concept and tool design phase. You are there to solve their engineering pain points. Then, Track B. This targets the commercial decision makers, so the corporate sourcing VPs. Your pitch to them is entirely about import substitution. You've got to show them how your local materials can seamlessly replace Japanese or European imports, which completely eliminates their currency risks and those agonizingly long logistics lead times. And finally, Track C is operational execution. This means getting in front of plant heads and quality assurance managers at regional clusters. The goal here is simple. Request a trial evaluation during new tool trials so you create this undeniable bottom-up demand right from the plant floor. Moving right into Section 3, meeting the lighting mandate, where we'll cover the specific technical requirements. So the crucial point is that because Lumax manufactures highly visible, incredibly safety-critical components, your material portfolio cannot just be good enough. It has to map perfectly against their rigorous functional requirements to even have a shot at passing their standards. Let's start with the optically clear lenses for the outer housing. If you're supplying acrylic, PMMA or polycarbonate compounds, they are going to demand extreme UV stabilization and superior weatherability. They need incredibly high impact resistance to guarantee absolutely zero yellowing or cracking over a full 10-year vehicle lifespan. The bar for outer optical clarity is, frankly, exceptionally high. Next up, we look at the internal optics, which means the reflectors and bezels. For these parts, your polycarbonate or BPT grades absolutely have to handle some severe localized operating temperatures. We're talking about the intense heat generated by tightly packed electronics. Plus, the surface needs to maintain a flawless, low outgassing profile. Why? Because it has to be perfectly suited for direct metallization and vacuum deposition. And finally, we've got these structural rear housings. Now, these components require heavily reinforced polypropylene compounds, which are usually packed with glass fiber or mineral fillers. They demand exceptional dimensional stability and very low warpage. But most importantly, think about what these parts actually do. These housings have to support the heavy weight of complex LED assemblies while the vehicle is bouncing around on uneven terrain. So your materials must offer absolutely superior vibration dampening. All right, let's look at Section 4, the professional onboarding roadmap, taking us from the initial pitch
all the way to final approval. Let's move to and see how this builds across the operational workflow. You have the right product, and you know exactly who to talk to. Now, you have to follow a highly systematic process to formally enter into a commercial relationship with Lumax. It breaks down into 4 distinct steps. Step 1 is the prerequisite, digital supplier registration right on their portal. That's where you submit your IATF certificates and financials. Step 2 is R&D alignment, which happens through a technical and VAV presentation. Step 3 is the big on-site validation. This is where Lumax actually audits your plant's manufacturing consistency and financial resilience to make sure you can handle large-scale volume. And Step 4 is the final qualification. This means executing a strict Level 3 PPAP. That's Production Part Approval Process, where you provide sample batches for rigorous laboratory testing to finally secure that formal type approval. Actually, I want to pause just briefly on Step 2 for a second and talk about VAVE, or Value Analysis and Value Engineering. During your technical presentation, you've got to bring a customized VAVE proposal to the table. You need to definitively prove how your specific polymer compound adds tangible value over their current incumbent materials. Basically, you have to show them the math. Show them exactly how you reduce overall weight or cut down cycle times. It's really all about proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are better than whatever they're currently importing from Japan or Europe.
And that brings us to Section 5, securing a strategic partnership, or as I like to call it, the final push. So how do all these specific procurement tactics and technical material specs tie into Lumax's broader corporate strategy? Well, it really comes down to this. Lumax is aggressively localizing their materials supply chains to defend their massive market share against Tier 1 competitors. They want Atmanervar, meaning self-reliant, localized materials science partners. And this brilliantly illustrates your winning angle. If you can align your pitch with this deep desire for self-reliance, proving you offer uncompromised quality, super short lead times, and stable pricing structures, that is for sure your single fastest path to a multi-year, high-yield relationship.
So we're going to wrap things up with a bit of a provocative question for you. Are you ready to evolve from being a mere component vendor into a true co-developer of future mobility? It's time to take a really hard look at your own market readiness, your manufacturing infrastructure, and of course, your technical capabilities. The entire strategic playbook is right here in front of you. Now, it's just time to take action. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer today, and I absolutely can't wait to see you apply these insights.